way that to question the hegemonic concept of human brought for centuries of enslavement, colonialism, obligation, and submission, to which must be added today an unbridled liberalism, which has no weapon other than to consider the human being as a potential enemy, and therefore to wage a permanent war to subjugate him. It must be admitted that is only when the violence that preside over the arrangement of the colonial world and which has tirelessly punctuated the destruction of indigenous social forms, demolish the reference system of the economy, it will then be claimed and assumed by the colonized, and he will decide to be part of the history in action and to rush into the forbidden cities. Therefore, he will finally be able to think about the condition guaranteeing human beings to live in a human humanity. The first obligation is to decolonize the imprisoning of an ineffective discourse on human rights, particularly that established since the abolition. The freedom of the new free was translated into the maintenance of the established order, the obligation to work and the unwavering recognition of the emancipating republic, and above all, into the obligation to forget the past. The various declarations and other international standard-setting instruments are all about erasing the past and taking measures to restrict it in various fields and contexts. We must also not forget that in the aftermath of enslavement and colonialism, justice was a separate matter, and above all, one of that stood on the bank of common law, as can still be seen in the country we live in, where the land still belongs to those who acquire it through crimes and theft. The point is not to make this declaration more moral or more just, but to reflect under the impetus of the damned on a new definition of humanity based on the perception that the colonized, the damned, have of what humanity should be. We need to desacralize the entire colonial matrix in order to create social relationships that are free of ethno-racial references, to create a new humanity, one that is thought outside the line of force imposed by modernity, where man will be able to relate to man wherever he may be, because decolonial conditions will enable him to extract himself, but collectively, from the zone of non-being. We are at the moment of choice. Let's make no mistake. We have a responsibility toward our ancestors. Let's not betray them. If we pretend to fight against racism, we have to fight against the basis of structural racism. The only to succeed to do it, it is the only way to succeed to do it. It is through the process of reparation. The only way to put an end to the dominant system based on white supremacy and liberal capitalist system that constantly denied the dignity and equality to African and Afro-descendants. Collective and political reparation are our hope, the hope of our future. Let's mobilize for the restitution of the money that France has claimed from Haiti as the price of its independence, for the theft of Asian gold illegally organized by the United States, for the cancellation of the public debt, and finally for reparation for crimes against humanity. Let's demand that the international community, which have consistently betrayed the founding principle of the United Nations Charter, organize the closing of the decade in Haiti. forcing former Western slave owning and
Unmute your button, please. You're muted.
You are muted.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Okay, go ahead.
What I have to do?
Go ahead. I mean, it was just the last two sentences.
Okay, again. Let me go back. Collective and political reparation are our hope, the hope of our future. Let's mobilize for the restitution of the money that France has claimed from Haiti as the price of its independence, for the theft of Asian gold illegally organized by the United States, for the cancellation of the public debt, and finally for reparation for crimes against humanity. Let's demand that the international community, which has consistently betrayed the founding principle of the United Nations Charter, organize the closing of the decade 2024 in Haiti, forcing former Western slave owning and colonizing states to assume their responsibility towards Africa, colonized country, and genocide peoples will be our decolonial contribution to a new Pan-Africanism. Thank you.
Well, Yon.
Merci beaucoup. Albert, maybe you can say a few more words of thanks.
Yeah.
While I get a little bit better situated.
But let me. No, merci beaucoup. Un grand merci, Dr. Burrell. The sense of your outrage about another attempt to create a separate process, which is being referred to as a decade of reparative justice, for you is seen as another attempt to stall a process of coming to some closure. And I could sense that the civil society groups that were striving for that saw this as a move in the right direction. Why were you a little bit, or at least more than perturbed about this whole idea of starting another decade for the restorative justice?
Because what was done during the first decade? What was done? Really?
Well, yes, I sense that's more or less a question that we ask ourselves, because for many of us.
Sorry, Albert.
Yep, I mean,
he's the host. So he kicked the other. He stopped the live feed from here. And Muiza, why did you stop this live feed from here? We want to do the live feed from here.
Okay. Are you ready? Are you all ready now to do the live feed?
What do they mean by the live feed from there? Because if you are joining the Zoom, you can see what we are seeing.
Exactly. Because Dr. Muriel has to go to bed and she's still a bit longer.
Okay, all right, good. Okay.
So now what you have to do is if you can connect your laptop with the PA system, then you can get the sound out. Then
okay, we'll do that.
On the Zoom, yeah. And also if you have a video projector, then you can put it the screen.
All right. Please put on the video from here. All right.
So are you ready? Are you starting the program already?
We started already. We didn't feed it in. So.
Oh, okay. So for the record, we have the sentiments expressed recorded, and Paula already started the conversation. And Dr. Muriel will have to go to bed, but she had hit on a very, very pungent issue, which is the UN process of constantly creating processes upon processes. And I sense from her reaction that it for her was more another stalling tactics. And I wanted us to see whether she could share further thoughts on that.
It's very easy to understand. During the first decade, nothing was done. And it's not, in fact, it's not the first decade, because before that, there was 3 decades against racism. What happened? Nothing. And it's not because we would have another decade, something will change. I think it's better from our perspective and from our side to put all our effort to get reparation through the permanent forum, and not to divide our effort between decade and permanent forum. The people will be lost, and it's a way for the UN to not act. In fact,
divide and
you
rule.
have to understand from the inside. You have to understand how they proceed.
I'm sorry.
They put in place.
Sorry.
We want to feed what the people are saying in the room right now. They're starting the program.
Okay, so if you can hang on and hang in and see a little bit more, but we'll make sure that your statement is also played back for the group. So let me hand over to you, Paula, whilst we coordinate the link to the live feed.
So we'll start with feeding the people who are here now. So we might come back on.
Sorry, but really I'm tired and I need to sleep.
Okay, thank you very much for making time. Yeah, the struggle is such that we have to be doing so across the Atlantic and everywhere. But thank you for staying up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not realize it was so late. I did not realize.
No, we have actually Maurice, who is helping us, is in Dakar. And as you are aware, I wanted to share a little bit about what is already happening in Dakar. It's a very hot issue now. And most
I know that because I am with Senegalese here. And we follow the situation. And of course, our solidarity, my solidarity is also going with the Senegalese people fighting for their emancipation.
Exactly. So we fight local struggles and be part of the global effort as well. So thank you very much. And so what we're going to be doing,
thank you.
At all. It was a pleasure meeting you. I've read of you, I've seen you in bits and pieces here and there, but you know, the wonder of Zoom. And thank you, Paula, for giving me the opportunity to have a chance also to have a chat with her. You know, so I'll hand over to you, Paula. Let's see how we can coordinate the rest of the evening with those live in Harlem.
Enjoy the evening. Enjoy the evening.
Okay, same to you.
Bye-bye. Bye, Egbert. Bye, Egbert.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for your work, Egbert.
Thank you, Dr. Merrill.
To online participants, we're going to join the live feed from the in-person room at the Dwyer Center in Harlem, and I'll try to chat some info to you again as necessary as that goes on. Sorry, we had some technical problems in terms of getting everything to match up.
So Maurice, can you feed the live feed? Okay.
Yeah, the thing is, for us, we are good, but they are supposed to give us the live feed as they join the Zoom. Okay. Like on their end, because we had it at some moment, I could see the stage.
Exactly. The 2 cosigns, yeah.
As to start video.
Yeah, we need both cosigns.
Yes, we have them all on. Put the camera on.
Let me make you co-host then first, so that you can have a bit of control.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So now we are seeing you.
Switch it to.
Okay.
You stop the video, and then you're in the stop, man. Yeah. There you go. Just don't block me, all right?
No, I won't.
Yeah. No more.
Again. No more. Just put it in here.
We don't see it yet.
No, we don't see it yet. You don't see it yet. Let me put the 2 feed on pin.
Let's see. But if you leave it on gallery, we should be able to see them.
Oh, gallery. Okay, let me do that.
Yeah,
let me
so
probably do that.
If I leave it on show non-video or participant, we should be able to see all of them.
Okay, there we go.
Now we good. So let's now spotlight this one. Spotlight for everyone. So then we hide the non-video participant. Okay. So can we have the sound just for test on the stage? But the thing is,
I don't see anybody on the stage.
No,
Nobody's on the stage right now, but you guys are feeding through the PA system. Everybody in the building can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. But we can hear you at all.
Yeah, we can hear you, but the thing is, we want to know if you can hear people on the stage. Can somebody go there and then just talk so we know that if we can hear you from there?
No, that's not working.
Okay.
No,
No,
not yet.
not yet. I think you have to choose the mic.
Yeah, they got to select it for.
Yeah, there is an option where you can select your mic, not from the laptop, but maybe from the system that you are plugging in.
Okay.
You good?
You're still checking the sound, I believe.
Yeah. So, or otherwise, they can join in with a call or like a phone.
Exactly. They could
we
get
can-
somebody to join
yeah.
the Zoom and then use their mic.
They can use the mic.
So Paula, now just to get back to you, we say technology is both a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
It is making it possible for us to connect, Maurice from Senegal, is it Denver?
Yes.
Yes, okay, and I'm here close to DC, and some of the colleagues around the globe, and they're just connecting from Harlem. We knew for a fact, because we later learned that the center doesn't really have a setup.
Yeah,
like,
we could sort that out later, but since we have people online,
right,
all I need to know is, again, if I can be chatting silently while the feed, when it works from the room.
Can you hear me in the Zoom?
Yeah, but there is an echo. I think you have to mute the laptop. Like we can hear you, but there is an echo.
For what? For your feed?
I am muted.
No,
that's not coming from me.
No, it's not you.
I was muted.
no, it's not yours. It's from there. They have two Zoom call.
The laptop is giving you also the sound. Like when you talk, you are hearing yourself. So if you can reduce the volume of your laptop, I don't know. Just try that. Let me see.
You want me to reduce the volume?
No, not you. Them on the ground.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's like the echo. Can you hear me?
I think they're still working on that end.
No, because sometimes when you have the echo, it's because you are hearing yourself.
Yeah, there are two. You can see two of them open. The co-signs are all co-hosts.
Yeah.
Check. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
There's a little echo.
There's a little echo.
But it's better than the first time.
Yeah. Maybe try to shut it down completely.
You could mute the mic on one of them and then just leave the camera on.
Yes. And also reduce the volume of the laptop so that you won't hear yourself from one of the laptop.
So, well, I was
Check.
okay.
Can you hear me in the Zoom?
Yes, wonderful. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
beautiful.
Wonderful. Yeah, good. So I think now we're good to go. So
okay. So whilst we see this the stage, Paula, I wanted to, of course, we have, within a very short period of time, brought a coalition together that is trying to connect as many of us who around the world but couldn't be in New York to be part of this event. And as Dr. Muriel was sort of hinting, the outcomes of the forum is not as pleasing to her, but I think our dear sister Angelique was somewhat optimistic about the outcomes, at least the indication that we're moving forward. There's already a date for our next meeting. There's an invitation from the Brazilian government, and there's some movement forward. What's your take, at least from what you've seen and heard so far, Paula?
Hi. Hello.
Yes.
Is it part of the libation? Okay.
Oh, it's starting the live feed.
Yeah, I think was
okay.
I'm really curious to get your take, because in as much as we've been working together as the Pan-African Working Group, we haven't had a chance to really discuss some of the nuances of this opportunity as well as the challenges that the forum poses. So at the end of this event, how do you feel?
The short answer, so that as soon as the live feed starts, we can jump on, is that I agree with much of what was said, and the frustration that's been expressed by both in-person and online folks, again, in terms of the issues where a lack of real participation by civil society, including technical issues. However, again, I think that based on my experience with UN-related mechanisms, including the human rights ones, which again, I have specialized in over the years, and am still working as a civil society member around with. What we have to understand is one of the major things that the UN does do, despite the flaws, political, financial, and otherwise, including the relationship behind the scenes with the real powers of the Security Council and the Permanent Five, is that the UN does, again, provide a way of providing education. Major example is the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, which came out of the UN after World War I, is now available in nearly 600 languages on the UN website, because civil society has wanted it from around the world globally. And while it may not be easy, it's relatively free or more easily accessible. And that makes it, second to the Christian Bible, the most widely translated document in the world today. So that tells you the power of declarations and the power of education. And I'll put a post that I had used to respond to one of the frustrations in the side events in the chat later on.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm sensing you're still optimistic, and in as much as you see the flaws or the weaknesses of the UN process, it provides quite an invaluable asset.
I totally agree that the UN wouldn't be doing even a General Assembly without civil society pressing it. I totally agree that unless more is done with respect to make the permanent forum actionable, including, again, support and everything in civil society keeps up the pressure, that it can be just another not useless exercise. It still will go along with some things, but again, to maximize its usage, civil society has to use it to press, not only at the international level, but whatever level people are at, local, political, whatever. If you use the declaration, at least more folks know about it. You can use it for instance, lobbying as a matter of principle. If you're in the US, I think we're all familiar with how how the Declaration of Independence is used as popular education, despite the fact that it never has been law. Okay, so that's some of the things, but yes, civil society has to continue to press. And I was positively impacted by about the tentative recommendations that were shared at the final session today in terms of the permanent forum, which reacted immediately in terms of addressing some of these technical issues for the next session in, I believe it's April in Brazil, with respect to making information more accessible for in-person and online participants, including persons with elderly disabilities, different languages. They've already committed and started today having Portuguese, which is not usually translatable and stuff. So in that sense, as long as civil society is committed to staying on top of it and using the UN in whatever ways is helpful to you, I am still positive about these results thus far.
Thank you. I mean, we're to be continued, as we say. I see the musician gathering, and as you were suggesting, we'll be putting stuff in the chat. Others are encouraged to add some, if whether they have questions or comments, they can put them in the chat. We have them all recorded. Yes. And Maurice, at a more appropriate time, we may get you to share a little bit about what is happening on the ground in Senegal as we gather here across, well, they gather in Harlem and we join them from across the world.
Yeah.
And see how we can move forward with this agenda. So,
and
I'll mute myself and let's hear them. Hopefully the sound is good from their end.
And I'm hoping to put together a post sort of summary with some key links or something. So one of the things I'll put in the chat is my information, and if folks want me to send that again when it's available, just send me an email to the email in the chat.
Excellent, excellent. So, okay.
And I would add that my name is Dr. Paula R. Rhodes. I'm a retired law professor who retired to do more interdisciplinary work in my field of international human rights and development. And I'm working currently on that with respect to these matters with both ADNA and the International Working Group on the Civil Society for the Permanent Forum, which is another NGO.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you, Paula. We're going to get muted and we'll listening in and prompt us either with the chat or WhatsApp.
What the hell?
If you can hear us, we can hear you. Please, if you can help us with the sound. Thank you.
Thanks. We can't hear you. Let me see whether I'll call him directly on the phone.
Yes, please. Yes.
Brothers and sisters, put your hands together for the Libaya Marasa. The Garifuna cultural group all the way from Honduras living in New York. I welcome brothers and sisters to remembering our roots in Harlem. This is where the Renaissance for the liberation of our people started. So we are happy to host you. And without further ado, I want to introduce the people who do the libation. Cynthia Ellis and Brother Kasik from Jamaica. Brother Kasik is from Jamaica, the Maroons community, and Cynthia Ellis from the Garifuna Nation.
This doesn't work, sure? It works or it doesn't work? Well, we'll do without it, all right? My colonial name is Cynthia Ellis, but my Garifuna name is Lubafu Isieni. So welcome, brothers and sisters. This is going to be a quick invitation to involve you, include you in the libation process, and I want to present our brother Alex, who will be doing the drumming. We'll first call on the spirit of our ancestors. We are going to do a libation, and as we pour, as Brother Kasik, he's from the Taino people. The power and the beauty of Garifuna is we have the two blood in our veins, the African and the indigenous. So we want to celebrate that. Indigenous, African, Taino. Okay? So give Brother Kasik a round of applause. Welcome.
On that note, just for a few seconds, I would like us to acknowledge the indigenous people of these lands, the Iroquois people, the Mohawk people, and the Lenape people, because it is through working together that we're able to achieve liberation. So honor those spirits, the spirits of this land that have welcomed us to this place for us to settle under the work that we're doing. And from there, we move to our route.
So we're going to remember, first of all, for those of you who just came from the homecoming at Balisau, you can stand, honor our sovereign chief and king, Joseph Chatouillet, the only hero of Yurume. I invite you to call the names of your ancestors that you want to be present in this sacred space. Godsman Celestino Ellis, Baroda. Call the names of your ancestors. Marcos Mosiah Garvey. Call him. Yes. 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 The shoulders on which we stand. Keep calling them in your hearts, in your spirit. Mm. Mm. Yes. 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 The remaining will We'll invite all of you to stand. We'll invite all of you to stand at this time. And we will do, I want you to take, we would like you to take your little finger. The little finger shows that no matter how small, we are connected. And we Maroon and Indigenous people do this. I went to Nova Scotia some time ago and was amazed that just like the Garifuna, the Maroons in Nova Scotia were doing this. We're going to do the Abemahani, sacred prayer of surrender this time and this day to the divine hands. You belong far away, oh, Adonwala, leba busteru. That's all. Wagoshe bongio lida songula. You belong far away, away. Adonwala, leba busteru. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done here on earth as it is in heaven. Here on earth as it is in heaven. Wagoshe bongio lida songula. You belong far away, oh, Adonwala, leba busteru. Lida songula, lida mua, lida songula. So there we have it. We surrendered everything totally into the hands of the divine. That is the only way that our struggles will be overcome. That is the only way that we as the Garifuna nation have overcome genocide. And we are here to tell the story and move on together. Itarala.
I want to introduce Sister Reverend Dr. Angelique Walker-Smith to introduce Queen Mother Amy Ephemia Jakes Garvey's soliloquy to be done by Sheila Brown. Sister Angelique.
Good evening, everyone. Isn't this an amazing evening already? Can you just give a hand clap for everything that's happened this evening already? Just thanking God and thanking you. Oh, it's just amazing. We also want to sing, because we're on the soil of the U.S., just one verse of the anthem of people of African descent in this country. Can you rise just for the first verse of the national anthem of our people in this country, written by our own brother, James Weldon Johnson? Can we sing just that first verse? Ready? Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven rings. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise out in the lips dazzling skies. Let us resound loud as the roaring sea. Give our people a hand. You may be seated. Thank you so much for that. All of you should have your programs. We are now very honored to have now the voice, one of the great voices from Harlem, who will come and be embodied in the person of Sister Sheila, who will come and remember our dear ancestor, the Queen Mother, who will come. She will come and embody the Queen Mother from this period in the early 1900s. Sister Sheila, are you there? Where is she? Here she comes. Get ready.
Take some big physical demonstration to make some Negroes appreciate the necessity for and worthiness of the program of Garveyism. The Chinese War, now being waged, has done it. 10 years ago, when Marcus Garvey started his crusade and informed a warring world that peace could only be brought about with each race, group, and nation looking to respect the rights of the other. And just as Europeans claimed Europe as their exclusive possession, so should Asia be for the Asiatics and Africa for the Africans. That by some Negroes and dubbed a dangerous man by European land grabbers. Today, the slogan Asia for the Asiatics, created by a black man, is the war cry of millions of oppressed Chinese who are letting Europeans know and feel that their home is in Europe, unless they are willing to be governed by Chinese. Thousands of white people are packing up bags and baggage and leaving China for the Chinese. Hundreds of years of prayers, petitions, and appeals made no impression on the powerful European nations who were busy exploitation. But less than 1 year made the decision to leave China for the Chinese. Under the caption, "Want it, fight for it," Mr. Arthur Brisbane of Hearst Publications writes, "If you want anything in selfish civilization, fight for it." China started fighting, and Europe suddenly becomes polite. China has learned what Africa is now learning, that what is worth living for is worth dying for. But Africa is not asleep. She is organizing herself, uniting her tribes, educating her children, linking hands with her scattered children throughout the world, instilling in them the love of race and the love of country. It is a great task, but once the task is done, the battle will be comparatively easy. For what human forces could be successful in defeating 400 million well-trained Negroes? They had better sense than to try such an unequal conflict. Africa will be redeemed, perhaps without the shedding of blood, and the Europeans will yield as gracefully as they yielded to the Chinese. But in the meantime, Africa bides her time, and from the ocean strand Oh, jungle, mountain, vale, and mead, the swift road unity will speed on wings of wind and warp our faithful folk into one dream, one voice, one heart, one hope. And once again, she'll claim her sacred right to rule herself apart from the alien right. But if once more the pale-faced man shall say, oh, not yet, thou backward race, still thine to pay, I quake to think how one arms shall hurl thundering tears at a grasping world when Africa awakes.
Thank you, Queen Mother Jock Garvey. We appreciate and love your message. Thank you. And that was done in the early 1900s. Just saying, right here in Harlem. So now we go to the rest of our program. And if you have your program, then you will know that we're now going to hear from Bishop Joseph Tolton, who is representing one of our sponsors. If you look at the bottom of your page, you will see this is a beautiful Pan-African collection of those who've come together to make this evening possible, including you. And one of those partners is the Advocacy for Africa Network based in Washington, D.C. And Bishop Joseph Tolton is going to give us a very brief greeting to say thank you and to honor us.
Thank you so much, Reverend Angelique, for your kind introduction, and greetings to all of my brothers and sisters and siblings that are here today. On behalf of our sponsor, ADNA, of which I am a very proud member, I bring you greetings of Pan-Africanism. According to Judeo-Christian mythology, the divine created humankind in God's own image. And the first directive given by God is that we should have dominion over the earth. This impetus for dominion is hardwired in humanity's DNA. I contend that God's orientation toward dominion is a full throttle expression of God's care for that which materializes out of the mind of God. The command for dominion was not to lord over, but to serve and to protect. The original tragedy of the garden was not Eve's conversation with the evil one, but rather Adam and Eve's confusion that they were two distinct beings and not one. This grave and costly misperception formed the soil for the imperial desire to flourish. As it relates to people of African descent, the horror of the Mafa of our slavery was the separation of Africans from each other and the deculturalization that ensued. The stripping of our royal garments, indigenous faith practices and epistemologies, and the disturbance of sociocultural understandings. We were separated from our tribes and from our clans. But ADNA believes that Black internationalism is a powerful idea because Black internationalism is a movement in which we who were separated decide to choose each other again and to affirm our oneness. Together, that choice for us to choose each other is in fact our greatest power. President Biden, Putin, and Xi Jinping, they need to see us choosing each other. Before we can ask France to pay its debt to Haiti, the French government needs to see us choosing each other. If we are serious about good governance around the continent of Africa, African dictators everywhere need to see us choosing each other. I am so proud to be a part of ADNA and to be a part of this great celebration of Black internationalism because we have come from everywhere to do something simple and profound, and that is to choose each other. Ashe and amen.
Thank you so much, Bishop Tolton, for that wonderful greeting. Now we want to invite Reverend Dr. Iva Carruthers, who is the matriarch and leader of the Samuel DeWitt Proctor Conference. Please, Dr. Iva, won't you come and greet us briefly? Thank you.
I choose you, and I know that you choose me. Thank you, Reverend Dr. Angelique, sister, and this wonderful family of the diaspora and of the continent, and we who are imbued with the divinity within. We are going to choose each other because we know who we are. I stand here and I must invoke. I cannot be here and not invoke the ancestral blessings and the influence on my life of Dr. John Henry Clark and Mother Sybil Clark from Harlem, and his teacher, John Glover Jackson. Dr. Ben, can you see them? Have you heard of them? Ashe. And then Mother Margaret Burroughs. And of course, Reverend Dr. Samuel DeWitt Proctor, who was pastor emeritus of Abyssinian Baptist Church in Harlem, the historic church for which my organization is named, the Samuel DeWitt Proctor Conference. I bring you greetings from our co-founders. I'm a co-founder along with the Reverend Dr. Jeremiah A. Wright Jr. and the Reverend Dr. Frederick Douglass Haynes, and our co-chair is Bishop Leah Daltrey, who you probably also have heard of. And I bring you greetings from the thousands of faith leaders and congregations and those we extend and work with throughout the world as a non-governmental organization of the United Nations, in which we claim and proclaim that we will not rest until justice comes. We stand at the intersection of justice and faith. I think our logo says that all 20 years we selected the Haitian maroon as our logo. And so we struggle to build capacity for our community, our leaders, our transgenerational processes to affirm from the womb to the tomb who we are. We do so through education. We do so by advocacy. We do so by activation. And most of all, undergirding that is Pan-African spiritualism, because we know it is also the unseen and not just the seen, which will propel us to victory. And so I thank you for allowing me to share from my heart what it means to greet us in this space. My first time in this space. I'm from Chicago. And I just want you to know that I feel the ancestors here, and I know that we reflect the best of African consciousness. And so I hope and wish for us that this program will affirm over and over again that we are called to claim our story, to reclaim and tell our story. And so let us embrace what it means to remember the Ma'afa. Let us know what it means to have the wisdom of Sankofa and the power of Ma'at and the promise of Ubuntu. Welcome to this program.
Thank you so much, Dr. Iva Carruthers, for that wonderful greeting. Now we'd like to invite Dr. Sheldon Williams, who comes to us from the EdFu. Yes, the EdFu Foundation, another sponsor and collaborator. Come on up.
Thank you, Reverend Walker. My name is Sheldon Williams. I'm the president of EdFu Foundation. We started our organization in 1999 in Mount Vernon, New York. I'm a native New Yorker, so I'm extremely glad to be here. My grandparents and father grew up here on 138th and Frederick Douglass. So I would like to say it's really hard to follow Dr. Carruthers. She is a legend. And thank you so much. It's so glad to see you again after the Faith and Repertory Justice side event that we had the other day. So I'm also the co-chair of the International Civil Society Working Group for the PFAD. And I just want to thank you all for coming out and, representing, doing your statements. Did you all enjoy the rain at the end? That was the ancestors cleansing everything, right? Because the way we were treated was not how we should have been treated when we came here. But the International Civil Society Working Group is going to ensure that the next time that we come back to the UN, that this is going to be our house. So we want to encourage you we'll be sending out a survey to put all your complaints and comments and constructive criticism on the survey, and join the working group. If you do not know about it, there are plenty of members around, and we will definitely give you that information because we're stronger together. All right, so enjoy the evening. And again, thank you, Reverend Dr. Angelique. Thank you.
Is Dr. Amara in the house? Dr. Amara Inya? Where is she? Come over here and just come smile. Stand up so we can see you. This is our other co-chair. We love you. Thank you both so much for your leadership. We're so honored. And now we'd like to bring up a video. Are we ready with the video from Dr. Masiwa Gunda from the World Council of Churches? He is our international staff leader around issues relative to the permit formal. Is he available for the screen? He is available for the screen. So let's hear from Dr. Gunda.
Good afternoon, sisters and brothers. I send you warm greetings from Geneva. I am Dr. Masiwa Gunda with the World Council of Churches. The discussion on the table today is one that should never leave the table until and unless visible action is taken to realize the aspirations, hopes, and dreams of humanity. The simple facts are that communities directly and indirectly participated in the exploitation of Africa.
Thank Dr. Well, thank you. Brother Egbert, who's going to bring us a word from the Garifuna Nation. Dr. Egbert, Mr. Egbert, yes, here he comes.
Thank you, Reverend Dr. Angelique, co-convener of this conference. Brothers and sisters, I bring greetings from the Garifuna Nation. As you know, our brothers and sisters are in the Caribbean. They are in Nicaragua. We are in Honduras. We are in Guatemala. We are in Belize. We are fighting for our indigenous and African rights. We are together. We were here before, as Van Sartima had said. We were here before. We did not lose land. Land was stolen. Our people were genocided. I say genocided. And so the struggle continues. In Honduras, developers are taking our lands and people are losing their lives. In Belize, recently, a developer went and just erased, bulldozed graves. We are all over continuing the fight for our liberation, land, language, and liberation. Amandla, we move forward together. Thank you very much, Reverend Angelique, for this beautiful organization that we have brought together to continue the spirit in Harlem.
And he is my co-conspirator as well for this evening, as well as the committee. It's a wonderful joy to work with you, Dr. Egbert. Yes, indeed. We would now like to bring on our next speaker. We are honored to have the new special representative on racial equity and inclusion from the State Department. And she's a dear colleague who's worked with us at ADNA and our Pan-African Working Group. Please welcome with me, Ms. Desiree Courier-Smith.
Good evening. Is it this one? Good evening. Thank you so much, Angelique. And thank you all for welcoming me here in this space, for creating this space. As Angelique said, I'm Desiree Courier-Smith. I'm the U.S. State Department's first ever Special Representative for Racial Equity and Justice. It was a position that was created just last year. And my mandate is to ensure that U.S. foreign policy promotes and protects the human rights of people belonging to marginalized racial, ethnic, and indigenous groups, including people of African descent, and to ensure that the U.S. is building global partnerships to combat structural racism, discrimination, and xenophobia. Not because we have solved these challenges in the United States, but because we recognize that these are global challenges. We're not the only country struggling with it. And I think that was so clear this week in the forum. I just want to thank you all for your work, for your activism, for your passion, for your joy, for holding us to account. It means a lot. As I also want to especially thank Angelique, Adna, and the International Civil Society Working Group. As I mentioned to you all, those of you who were able to attend our side event yesterday on Black health disparities in the United States, that was a direct result from your feedback. So I am here, I'm at the State Department. I want to hear from you. You all help me to do my job. I can't do it without you, and I can't do it without you because that gives me and then I won't have any credibility. So I just want to thank you all. Thank you again for creating this space, for welcoming me into it, and for all the work that you're doing to combat anti-Black racism, but to also build a world where we can be free and all of our rights can be respected, and being born Black doesn't determine how long you live or your life outcomes. That is the world in which we are trying to work towards. We're far away from it, but being in this room, being here this week at the UN, representing the US has given me a little bit more hope. And it also just is deeply personal to me as a person of African descent, now representing the country where that enslaved my ancestors, right? And so I, again, just thank you for having me. Thank you for the work you're doing. And I look forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for honoring us with those words. We now would like to bring the rapporteur of the Permanent Forum of People of African Descent, our dear friend, Dr. Michael McElrain. Michael, where are you? I know he's here. I greeted him. Michael. I know they will find him. He's back there eating somewhere. Here he comes. He comes all the way from Europe to be with us. And he's a dear friend of a few years now. And he's the one that helped write that report today and made sure we have a way forward. Please meet our dear friend, Dr. Michael McGarry.
Good evening, everyone. And so, yes, I'm a member and the rapporteur of the UN Permanent Forum of People of African Descent. Haven't slept for a minute this night, literally. So I wrote the preliminary conclusions and recommendations that were presented today. And yes, glad to be here. Don't know what sort of an event this is, but it seems great. and the food is wonderful, and yes, nice atmosphere. So yes, thanks a lot, everyone. And if you have any questions about the permanent forum, I'd be happy to take any questions. I don't know how many of you were at the permanent forum these past days. Okay, all right, like half of the room maybe. All right. So I could maybe say a few words about the permanent forum. So the permanent forum was established by the General Assembly on August 2021, and the part of its mandate is to act as a consultative mechanism and global platform for people of African descent across the world and other relevant stakeholders. And it is to give advice to the Human Rights Council and the General Assembly on people of African descent, and to coordinate the UN system around people of African descent, and to contribute to a UN declaration on the human rights of people of African descent, which is supposed to be ready next year. But it will probably take a little longer than that. And yes, I'm one of 10 members. And yeah, among our central courses, if you will, is reparatory justice. And we had our second session just ended today. It went on for 4 days. And on the program was global reparatory justice, Pan-Africanism for dignity, justice and peace, transnational migration, and what was it? Health and data, right? Data and systemic racism. So that was the program. And yes, lots of people, about 1,000 civil society participants from around the world. So it was quite good. Yes. Sorry? April, Geneva. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Even bigger and better. Let's hope. Yes. All right. Thanks a lot, everyone. Enjoy yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much for honoring us. You could have been in bed or someplace instead of being here. So thank you, because I know you stayed up the whole night before. Bless you for your sacrifice. We thank you. Now we really like to invite a recognition of one who has just come to the front of the room, and that is Queen Mother Blakely from Harlem. And so we bring the mic to her. And she wants to just holler at us very quickly.
First of all, it's such an honor to have Nubian people and the spirit of my ancestors in the Royal Court of Harlem. And being here in the spirit of Queen Mother Audley Moore, and at the United Nations was totally historical. And with Queen Mother Blakely been in the UN for 54 years as a humanitarian, waiting for you. So everything is in divine order that what happened the last 3 days. And with that, Queen Mother would leave in the energy of Queen Mother Audley Moore, who lived to be almost 100 years old. And she had one single issue, and the word is reparations. She said, children, Go get your reparation. Go get your money they owe you. Go get it. They owe you for the greatest crime ever committed against the people. And so being with Queen Mother for 20 years, her echoing those words, and I'm sure that she was so thrilled spiritually to see over 1,000 of you gathered in the United Nations. I will say for you, with the leadership and the decisions that you're making, bring in the young people. They are shaping the world they want. They are shaping the Africa they want. And I would say to all of you, as Queen Mother is celebrating the 50 years of Boogie Down the Bronx, because Queen Mother is a hip hop Queen Mother. And so with that, I will drop the mic in the blessing and say to all of you, stay on the sacred path of life. And I drop the mic.
Isn't it an honor to have her in the space? 50 years she's been waiting for us. Oh my gosh, that's a huge place. That's a huge piece right there. Okay, so now we're going to move to our keynote speakers. Keynote doesn't mean like a long time, but like they're the future, one of the features. And it's my understanding that we have Mr. Julius Garvey, who's ready now. Is that right? Can we have that confirmation? Mr. Julius Garvey. And we also had Dr. Miria Fanon Mendez. She was on earlier. No, he's going to come now here. Yeah. Egbert, are we ready there? Sorry? I can't hear. Not yet. Okay, is Dr. Fanon Mendez there? While we're waiting, I think the music group is here. I think they can offer us some music while we wait for the technology to work its way through. Can we have the musicians to come back? Sorry. I think we should. Let's go ahead with the greeting from the historic Black colleges and university, Dr. Vicky Casanova.
Thank you. I wanted to first say how honored I am to be in this sacred space. Is it not amazing?
Albert.
Yeah, so I wrote this down because I could be long-winded, and that's probably why Reverend Dr. Angelique was like, man, is somebody else here that can talk? But I'll be really quick.
Albert.
I want to say thank you so much, but also that I'm an honorary member of the Belizean Cultural Affairs from Chicago, Illinois. I've been so blessed in the Turtle Band to learn with folks and to eat.
Is Dr. Garvey on the Zoom?
So this is really a special time for me. I thank you. Honoring my God and my ancestors, without whom there would be no we and no me. Specifically, my late mother, as we remember our roots, Dr. Mabel Jones Henderson, who at her untimely death at age 66 was the acting vice president for academic affairs at Tougaloo College in Jackson, Mississippi. I wanted you to know one of the ancestors that I honor and think of when I realize that's why HBCUs are deeply rooted in my DNA, the divine nine, all of that. It's ride or die for me. There's just been, such a overnight sensation kind of phenomenon going on with HBCUs, right?
Yes, could we
But
please,
we know that when no one else would allow these educators, these scholars, the young people from the Delta who they socially promoted while refusing to teach.
because Garvey is not here.
It was Black colleges and universities that picked them up. It was Black colleges and universities that welcomed, from a Pan-African perspective, for years, folks from the continent, like Brother Kwame Nkrumah and many others. So this is not new for us. We know that when people discover you, they sometimes jump in and start doing stuff. Let's not let that happen. keep working together to honor nature that is who we are. I just quickly wanted to also uplift one person who, he's not an ancestor, but he's not fully here. I speak this way because we have to uplift within the right to health. The fact that
You want me to put
dementia
music? Oh,
and Alzheimer's and other types are really decimating our community. People are sleeping on the data that's evident on that. We have to lift this up. I also want us to lift up the fact that with all that education that we get, it's Black women that are bearing this overburdening debt. We need to lift each other up. And again, thank you. I'm over my 2.5 minutes, I know, but I will say this. There's several history makers in this room, but the brother that I speak of, who I said is here but not here, he helped lead us really in bringing human rights home, moving from civil rights to human rights as a lawyer who went all the way to Geneva and then back. He insisted on working as an attorney with the community. So let's not let folks divide us and have some people work on this human rights next step and not the others. The cultural piece is the root. We have the right to culture and the right to education. This is the 75th anniversary year of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Y'all know what these are? Okay, next time we're here or you're with us or wherever we are, you know what these are. Make sure that our young people know what they are, because we already know there's a higher level of rights, but they're codified here and it's law and we can claim them. Thank you so much. They're meeting in Austin right now, Texas, or they would have been here. Thank you.
Okay, checking on Dr. Garvey. Is he available at this point? Not yet. Okay, that's all right. The musicians are coming right now, so I know you love this. So here we go. Come on up and give us another presentation. Thank you so much. Let's welcome them. Oh, well, that was amazing. That was, let's give him another hand. Give him another hand. That's right. Okay. So, as they say, I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is you're still here and we have a program. The bad news is we have technical difficulties with Dr. Fanon Mendez. You know, she's in Europe. So you know what time it is over there? It's very late. So I think we missed our opportunity. She was on at the beginning, but we got off to a late start for good reasons. And then with Dr. Garvey, unfortunately, we just can't get through on the line with them at this time. But I have good news for you, more good news. We not only have had people of African descent, but we have had people from Africa in this meeting this week. And it is really important. Ooh, it's really important, I think, for us to hear from that. And one of the issues that's on our hearts is, I can share, it was the first place I went to on the continent of Africa, and that was to Darfur in Sudan many years ago. And I'm very pleased to say that we have one of the leaders from the revolution of women and girls in Sudan who brought down the government. We have Dr. Dima Mahmoud, who was a part of this moment, and she is here tonight. And I'm going to ask her to just say a word about Nubia and Sudan, to come and just say a brief word. Dr. Mahmoud, are you there? I think you would want to hear about Sudan in this moment. Dr. Mahmoud. Okay. But yes, she has been doing amazing work stateside and globally around the issues around the movement on the in the country of Sudan, of course, in the northern parts. And coming back 4 days before the war. Queen Mother was just there. That's right. So we know Sudan is on our heart. We know Nubia matters. And we just heard that from Queen Mother. but to have her here in the country at this moment. Here she comes, Dr. Dima Mahmood. Please welcome her. Just a brief word about your heart. Okay, brief word.
Maskagro, ay Dima Mahmoud, ay Nuban Uru. I greet and bless you in my Nubian ancestors' tongue. I am from Sudan. The full name of my country is the land of the blacks, Bilad as-Sudan. I will only ask you to ask yourself why the international outcry for Ukraine and the international blind eye for the land of the blacks. This is why we're not on the news. This is why we are carrying our own evacuation over Twitter and over social media. This is why no country will speak. And this is also why we were not present in this forum. Ask more questions, please, and keep your eyes on Sudan. And please remember that when I say Sudan, I don't mean the land. Sudan is land and people. And if you don't have your eyes on Sudan, if you don't know what Sudan looks like, he's right here. Every Sudan is. I really appreciate it.
We are with her. We are with our people around the world. We are Pan-African. We are God's people, and we thank God for her. So brothers and sisters, on that note, we will have just a closing sending, and then we will have celebration, and then we will depart from one another. I trust with a great lament and hope in our hearts. And so I am going to invite Bishop Tolton to come up here again and give us a closing sending, and then we'll have some more music and celebrate who we are and whose we are. Thank you for being with us this evening. We love you much. Looking forward to 2024. God bless.
Amen and God bless. Can we hold each other's hands as we now invite the spirit of our ancestors into the room? We pour out our own spirits onto the ground in this room because we are sitting in a sacred space and standing on holy ground. I invite the people of Haiti into the room. We see their struggle, we see their hope, and we see their victory. And you can say Ashe. We invite the people of Sudan into the room. We see their struggle, and we see their hope and their victory, and we say Ashe. We invite the people of Ethiopia into the room. We see their struggle, we see their hope, we see their victory, and we say Ashe. We invite the people in Eastern Congo who are subjects to war into the room. We see their struggle, we see their hope, and we see their victory, and we say Ashe. We invite the people in Uganda into the room. We see their struggle, we see their hope, we see their victory, and we say Ashe. We invite Black Iraqis into the room who often feel as if they are forgotten among us as Pan-Africanists. We see their struggle, we see their hope, we see their victory, and we say Ashe. We invite all people of African descent into the room. We see our struggle, but we see our hope, and we see our victory. This we say in the name of the blood and the power and the victory of our ancestors, for our hope is better than where we're going is better than where we have been. We say, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Peace be with you and bless you.
Thank you, Bishop. Have a beautiful evening. We'll be here about 15 more minutes and have a beautiful travel home.
Ready?
Okay, just there's an announcement very quickly.
My name is Wellington Ramos. I am a Garifuna from Dangriga, Belize. One of the things that is not known to a lot of people is the sufferings of our people. And the world needs to know our history and what we have been through. Just last week, they found the body of a Garifuna man who is probably our relative from Triunfo de la Cruz in Honduras. I will tell you something. My great-grandfather is from Triunfo de la Cruz. His name is Juan Petillo. And just before this gentleman died, there was a Garifuna person who was killed in January. And a couple of years ago, 5 of them are still reported missing. From the time we landed in Rotan on April 12, 1797, we are still suffering from racism, discrimination, and all sorts of human rights violations. And I will tell you why. We are the only Black people in the Americas that fought the Good War. We fought against the Spanish in 1498. We defeated them. We fought against the French in 1640. We defeated them. We fought against the British from 1773 to 1795, and we defeated them. The country that we own is St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In our language, Yurume, that is the real name. From our country to Rotan. Now we live in Honduras, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Belize, and the United States. From 2,500 people, we number 600,000 people. We have fought the good fight, and we are going to continue to fight because they will never get rid of us. Let me just remind you of something. When you see a person, all you see is the face and the flesh, but the spirits remain. Our ancestors with us, and we are going to die fighting until the day we die, and even after we die, we'll still be here fighting. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful night, everyone, and go with prayers in your heart. We turn it over to the musicians. Thank you. God bless.
So Maurice, can you call? I was listening. I realized I was hearing sound, but it was actually coming from Egbet's phone.
Yes.
Can you connect his phone to that? Because he called me and I just switched it off. Okay. Let me call him. Let me see whether.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. But I think the mic should be given to one of the musicians. That might be good. I don't know. One of the guys on the drum or
They called me and it looks like they weren't that savvy. But let me see. We can get some room.
Okay. Okay.
Thanks. Let's see. So Paula,
Can you see the post about the music and nobody giving somebody a mic?
No, the funny thing was I had to pull out of this to another.
Oh, because again, nobody responded to I chatted some posts from other people, and there's some people are still hanging in there. Wanting to at least hear what they're seeing and join in, however belatedly. And SY is signing off now. And Shia was the one who was able to somehow cut and paste, because it wouldn't even let me cut and paste. So, but fortunately, she's the friend that again had sent out to the Quaker network. So she somehow knows enough to be able to have gotten around the barrier and cut and paste from mostly the same material I had in mind, Word doc I had shared with you.
Okay. So we got a lot of work to do, but I think as you noticed, this was really rushed, pulled together partnerships to do some stock taking and lessons learned.
Yeah, and as far as I know, we were the only side event that actually charged people.
Yeah, that was. I mean, of course, at the UN there are no fees unless you are host communities.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the side events. Okay, the different other organizations put together generally were again accessible for no additional funds.
No.
So those folks who were already tired and exhausted from the UN tech problems.
Right.
But I'll do my best to create again a summary for anybody who gets in contact.
Okay.
And if by chance they figure out a way that we could send people who actually came online, again, the music, okay, later, that would be great.
Yeah, so we will have to get Maurice to retire. It's already early morning his end. So let's compare notes and see when we can have time to do some debriefing. But the struggle is one that we have to find all kinds of ways to bring as many of us together as possible. So they're growing pains for sure.
Yeah. Did we ever find out how many people had actually paid? Because not that many showed up.
Well, I mean, I was told that the in-person tickets were sold out, but here we got about barely 20. So, yeah.
I think a lot of it, I think, is people were just worn out.
Okay.
Now we get sound.
I think this is pre-record. Is that from you?
No. This is from the line. I think that the mic is close to the mic.
Okay. I have to jump up. So we can, if you want to record this to the end. I'll hang up on this later on. Or what I'll leave it on and on the other. So,
Anua Sandi. Anua Yumura. Anua Gunuran. Barame.
pretty short. Now, Paula, catch up with you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Maurice, to talk soon. Have a good sleep.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Bob.
Have a good one.
Okay.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thanks, Maurice.